Supergirl Season 6, Episode 4, title Lost Souls. Now, this episode is more the same, ladies and gentlemen. It is Kara's trapped in the Phantom Zone, and now she thinks there's a way to get back home, but at the end of the episode, things go terribly wrong, so she can't get home. Meanwhile, over at Earth with Team Supergirl, they believe there's a way to get Kara back on Earth and save Kara from the Phantom Zone. So, but there's a complication, so they can't do it this episode. This is the third episode of Woe. This has happened. The third episode. And you're hearing the same conversations of three, like, it just feels like they're repeating themselves. Oh, we got a Ghostbusters angle with like a phantom blaster thing. Ooh. Like, seriously, this is just, like, most of the conversation about, in this episode is how they miss Kara, how Kara would want us to do this, Kara would want to do that. You know, Lena thinks she betrayed Kara, how much they care, how much they're destined to save her, and blah 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 blah. And for me, I'm like, this is the same conversations for the last 2 episodes. There's nothing new, nothing here. Oh, Mixie turns bad. Oh, who thought that wasn't going to happen? I mean, and it was clear, like, even if you're a person who's like, hey, I know this has happened, but let's see how this thing plays out. It is done so obviously, so, like, have a big sign that points and says, she's a villain, at least for the next few episodes. She's the bad guy. You know? I mean, it's nothing new. I mean, hopefully with next week's episode, that seems to be a little bit of a time travel episode with Mia, with Dreamer and Brainy traveling to the future, traveling to the past to prom night, because that's the name of the episode next week, of Midvale High School when Kara and Alex were in high school. And you're like, hopefully there's something different here. Hopefully. Because if it happens again, it's just, like, the stuff with Brainy I like, because, you know, the stuff, you know, Brainy's inhibitors are fully open. He is feeling so much emotion that he's feeling emotions that he has never felt before. For the last, I don't know how many years, 6 billion years that he's been alive. So all this emotion is being built up. So last week we saw him being angry, we've seen him being mad and just like yelling about Lex and all that. But this time he's depressed, he's sad, he's comfort eating in a non-good way. And well, you know, he's not comforting as in like he's just watching a movie and he's like, oh, well, eat some donuts. Like, no, he's depressed. And that, like, it's just, I like that. The Phantoms made me thinking, will they do Doomsday? Because the Phantoms do look like a little bit Doomsday, right? Like, you know, am I wrong here? The action looks good and all that. But I will mention this. It's a pet peeve. It's a nitpick. It didn't took me out of the episode at all. But it is one of those things where I will say, if I were going to ask like a nitpicky question to the writers or the showrunners of the show, I will say this. And even with like Flash and all that, or Batwoman or whatever show that does this, is the concept of, we need to say the hero name, Flash, Supergirl, whatever, in an environment that everyone knows who the hero is. Like, we're in the Watchtower and everyone knows who Kara, they all know who Supergirl is. So in my head I'm thinking, why do they keep saying Supergirl, 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 Miss Supergirl, 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 while they all know it's Kara? It's a weird thing. I don't know, maybe it's they're worried that people will complain that they don't say Supergirl enough, or Flash enough, or Batwoman enough, maybe. Maybe they're worried that because there's a younger audience, and clearly with Supergirl and shows like Supergirl and Flash, it's a try and be a mature show, but they're aware that kids, there's younger kids watching it. So it could be the sense like they know who Supergirl is, but they maybe don't know who Kara is. Like kids know who Spider-Man is, but maybe don't know who Peter Parker is or who Batman is. They know who Batman is, but not Bruce Wayne. Because it's been a nitpick of mine ever since I started read comics, and I see like a scene between Batman and a scene with the Justice League, and they're all saying the hero names. And I'm like, you in the Watch Tower, guys? You in the Holy Justice? You know who everyone is. Like there's no point saying, hey Batman, how are you going? How's Soup? Hey Soup, hey Flash. It's like, just say, hey. It's like to say Bruce, Clark, Diana, Arthur, Victor, Barry, Hal, John, Wally, John Jones. It's a little bit of a nitpick of mine, but it didn't talk me out. I just like whatever. But yeah, it is one of those things where it does feel like this season had, like, while they were mapping up the story, that they had, like, I don't know, they mapped out 15 out of the 20 episodes, and they kind of had to figure out what were those final, those excess episodes will be, and it just feels like they're extending the plot, they're filling the plot up, because it feels more of the same, just because you could easily put the stuff with Midville into last week's episode, and then you could just like move things of plot to make the story flow and have more validity with this season. And yeah, hopefully next week, because it's different, this next week is not the same.